Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. So excited today. I've got actress and singer Laura Pursell with me. So welcome, Laura.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm still laughing. We've been dealing with some technical issues for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
We figured it out because we're very technical people.
Because we're a couple of dinosaurs. That's what happens.
Right.
We don't know what we're doing, particularly this dinosaur right here.
Oh my gosh. We did struggle a little bit, but after several attempts,
Yeah. Yeah. For all you listeners out there, if don't turn on your do not disturb button on your laptop when you are getting ready to do a Zoom call. I didn't know.
Unless you want to not be disturbed, because it worked.
It did, but I didn't want to be not disturbed by you. I just wanted to avoid all the pings and the email. Woo, I'm not gonna do that again. That was gnarly.
It's kind of good to know, though.
Yeah, I would just know.
Maybe if you're talking with somebody and it's not going well, you just hit that.
Go into your settings and change.
And then you can just be like,
yeah. It's your privacy settings. It's your notifications. Unbelievable.
I talked with Ed Asner before he passed. It's been a couple years back, and yeah, he's the best. He's the best. But he had an assistant that would do all that stuff for him. So he was there, but he comes on the Zoom, but he's sitting back, and it's just like some guy's torso fiddling around with his settings. But then he got him set up. Then he slid over, and we were good to go. So maybe that's the answer. We need to get.
I don't know. Gosh, he was in. I knew him not well, but I knew his daughter very well, Katie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were in the same theater company together. We were in a play together. We acted, and she's great. She's just a real salt of the earth, down to earth person.
Does she have his kind of, because his sense of humor is, he kind of picks at you a little bit.
No, Katie's not like that. No, she's just really nice and humble, and
that's great.
She's just real. She's just a super, super cool person.
I met Ed. He came through St. Albans doing a one-man show, and I met him there. Oh, awesome. Yeah, he was terrific. And then shortly thereafter, we got to work together on like an audio drama. And
wow.
I didn't realize he was, it was a friend of ours that was putting it on, and they asked for like their friend group for stories that would fit this audio drama. So I gave her one, and she used it, and it involved a time when I was working in a hospital, and I had to deal with an older patient. And she said, well, I want you to act in. And I was like, well, I can't act, but I'll try, because it's just me. I'm just acting as myself, saying basically exactly what I said at the time. Still, I was a mess. So we get on the day, we did it by Zoom, and we get on the day that we're supposed to film my little part. And it wasn't even that big, but my little part. So I get on there, and she says, I found a actor to play the older gentleman, and he wants to go ahead and read with you for the scene. And I was like, oh, that might help me. Okay, maybe it'll help if I'm not just saying it to air without a response. I was like, this will be okay. I was like, sure, bring him on. So who shows up is Ed Asner. That's who shows up. And then I'm like, that didn't help. It actually did. He was so good that it put me in a better place.
That he put you at ease.
He did.
I mean, that had to be the most nerve-wracking thing. Just Ed Asner, he's royalty. He's acting royalty.
I mean, that's my one acting credit, and it was with Ed Asner.
Pretty darn good. I mean, that's A-list if you ask me.
He kept it from being a disaster, so that's I think it's a win.
You scored. You scored.
I think that's pretty good.
That was awesome.
Put that so I'm so excited to have you on the show. Your voice, by the way, is beautiful. Love your voice.
Thank you so much.
My wife had actually had some of your older music on her playlist, so we've been listening to you for years. Because some of that music, Some of that has been probably early 2000s type
Oh
of
my gosh, yeah, that's way back
music.
in the vaults.
Yeah.
You actually, that's amazing. Thank you for, well, can you tell me what, like, I don't know, what
Well,
song or
I
what?
don't know the songs. I know I think the album. So because I wrote them down because I asked her, but it had to be swing,
Yep,
which
that
was
was the first
probably,
one.
yeah, probably late 90s, something like
Yep,
that. And then the country, um,
oh, Unkissed.
Unkissed. Those were
Yeah,
the two she had on her. She loved it and had it on her playlist. And she's constantly playing music. And so I've got to listen to a lot of your songs through the years. I just didn't realize
wow.
what I was listening to.
Wow, I feel like I have some longevity all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I've been on someone's playlist for 20 years.
Decades. Yeah,
Wow,
decades.
that's
Well,
amazing.
and well, I don't know if you've been on a playlist for decades. The songs came out decades ago, but
That's okay.
at least several years you have been on.
That is so
She had
fantastic.
them on her phone forever, and then built like a Spotify playlist or something.
That's so amazing. Tell your wife thank you.
Well, I will because I've already thanked her for me because when I was researching and I'm listening to music, I was like, I know these songs.
Wow. So you all still listen to CDs since, we're such dinosaurs? Do you have a CD player? Do you still
I've got we've actually got an actual record player, so
Well,
we
yeah,
still play some albums, but CDs, the only place we play them now is in the car.
in the car? Because I was going to say, I'll send you guys an autographed copy.
Well, please do, because
I'd love
yeah,
to.
that'd be great because we travel a lot. If we're driving to Nashville, there we go.
5 hours of good music. That's right. I will definitely, when we get off, give me your address. I will
I
pop
will.
one. Yeah, I would
Well,
be
that's all the questions I have.
See you later.
I've snagged my swag, so I'm out.
What swag it is.
Well, so let's start this way, Laura.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit because you've been doing this for a while. Tell me a little bit about what got you into entertainment. What made you want to become an actress, and how did you start with the music?
Yeah, everything in my life has just been one big accident. I'm telling you. I totally, because I went to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I got a degree in advertising. So I thought I was going to be this big, ad exec. And
Well, yeah, of course.
I got a job at an ad agency. And, I was a secretary for that. That was how you got in. You take
That's
notes.
right.
Of course, this was back in the day. We didn't have, everything was note taking with actual pencils and paper. So
Can you imagine?
can you imagine? And I did not like it so much. That was not my thing. And
Yeah.
I got offered an opportunity to move to LA, and I moved to LA, and I worked in sales, and I didn't like that either. So then I thought, well, I was in Costa Mesa. I saw an ad in the paper for an acting class at the South Coast Repertory Theater. So I decided I'm going to take an acting class because I've always liked acting. I think I'm pretty dramatic. I could do that. And one thing led to another. And I ended up moving to LA, which was north of Costa Mesa. And I studied at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. And I was doing children's theater, a touring company. We would go into all these little, like at 6 a.m. It was a really grueling way to make a living. Literally, you get up in the station wagon, load up all these props, and you go to the projects and you do these shows. And there was one show where I actually had to sing. It was a Martin Luther King Jr. show. It was about in honor, and I had to sing part of the "I Have a Dream" speech. And so one of the guys in the cast said, well, you girl, you can really sing. And I was like, I sing Madonna in the shower, but I don't know if I can really sing. And he said, no, you got a voice. You know what? I need some background singers for a gig that I have at a coffee house in Hollywood. And I'm working with some really cool guys. And I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Dad loved it. Dad's a musician. So I said yes. I just never, my whole life, I've never said no to any opportunity, which is
smart.
It's a start. So I said yes. And I joined his background group. And then the coffee shop liked my voice doing background. and they gave me my own gig, and they said,
awesome.
"Can you do a show, in 2 weeks?" And stupid me, I know nothing. Okay, at this point, I know nothing about anything. And I said, yes, of course. And they gave me a date. And I'm like, oh, I gotta
have some music.
I gotta have some music. I don't know what to do. And so my sister, Margaret, whose voice you heard earlier, she said, well, I saw this piano player, and his name is Steve Lockwood, and you should give him a call. And he's a really good jazz pianist. And I have his number because I wanted us to go see him again. Maybe he could help you. So I called this piano player and I told him my dilemma, and he started laughing hysterically. He said, "You actually said yes to this gig." Yes, and it's in 2 weeks, and I know nothing. I know nothing. I need songs. I need to learn everything. So I went to his apartment, and he taught me how to put a show together. He gave me some songs. I knew a few things like, Summertime. Every singer knows Summertime in the living. And I think I knew, oh gosh, it was a ballad. There's a somebody I'm longing to see.
Oh, I like that song.
Someone to watch over me, because I'd seen it in a movie.
Yeah.
Naked Whoopi, because I'd seen Fabulous Baker Boys. Those were my songs. That's all I knew. And he gave me a whole list of songs, and I didn't know anything. I learned very quickly, and I did the gig, and we were doing a tune called Nature Boy. Do you know that song? Nat King Cole. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. It's a very beautiful jazz ballad.
I like it. It sounds familiar, but I'm not placing it.
He traveled very far over land and sea. It's a really pretty song, but I didn't know anything, and I got lost. So I just started. I just started scatting.
Oh, you scatted.
Yeah. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know where I was. I lost my place. We got through it. And at the end of the song, he said, "You really don't know where you are, do you? You really know nothing. You didn't know anything."
He didn't believe you the first time.
I said, "No, I didn't. I just trying to go by my ear." And I got through the song, and it went very well. And I had packed the house with all my acting people from the Playhouse, and they asked me back. And I know this story does have an ending. I made it my mission to learn everything I could so that I would never feel stupid again. And I would never be the butt of anyone's joke. And the next time I had a gig, I would at least know the language and be able to be proud of what I was doing. Yeah. So I took every music theory class I could find. I studied guitar. I studied piano. I studied voice. I studied theory. I did all of it. And within a couple of years, I had like 100 songs that I knew.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I came home to Nashville, and my dad was thrilled beyond belief because he was this great piano player. And all of a sudden we had this thing in common. And so we started playing together. And then we started recording together. And that's how all those CDs that your wife has, those were my first projects with my dad. So in a nutshell, that's what happened. I was a late bloomer, and I had a lot of ground to catch up really quickly, and I did. And I just...
How did you... I love that story, especially that it ends with you kind of, sharing that in common with your dad. But how did you avoid that until you were an adult? Because he was such a kind of famous musician. How do you avoid not, picking that up earlier?
Well, the reason is very simple. My dad was a very large personality at home, and he was such an incredible musician. It would have never occurred to me to even enter that realm. I mean, like
see, that makes sense to me because he was so good, it was kind of intimidating.
He took up the oxygen in the room when it came to music. There was just no room for anyone else. I mean, that was his piano right back there.
Oh my gosh. My mother plays piano, and she would be dying over that piano.
That's the original, that 1963 German handcrafted grand piano that Dad bought. Gosh. And he wrote all his music on that. And I remember he had me enrolled in piano lessons, but I would hear Dad playing Rachmaninoff and Bach and Beethoven. He was classically trained. And I just thought, somewhere inside my head, I thought, I'm never going to be that good. I'm going to go do something that I know how to do. So I started ice skating and dancing. So I was a figure skater and a dancer. But
You're pretty good at the figure skating, right?
yeah, I'm pretty good at it. I coach now. But I also compete. I'm an adult competitor. But Dad, I wish Dad had forced me to stick with piano lessons. I really wish he had done that. And he was so involved in what he was doing in his career and making, money for the family, and because he worked all the time, and that, it kind of just drifted off. But I keep thinking, if I had stuck with it, I was 9 years old, I would have been a really good pianist as an adult.
Yeah. Well, it
And
obviously still helped you because it probably made it easier when you decided to do that, because you probably learned more than what you thought you did.
I think I did. And I think dance and figure skating had a lot to do with it, with rhythm and hearing music and knowing how to move to music. I think it had a lot to do with it.
Do you make your own routines for figure skating?
Sometimes I'll have a choreographer help. Sometimes it helps if you have a third eye to look at what you're doing. They see things that you can't. I might feel something that I'm doing physically, but it may not read the way that I think it's reading. And
Yeah,
so
that
now,
makes sense.
since we've got our phones, I'll prop my phone up on the side of the rink and I'll tape myself. And I'm like, well, that's okay, but someone might be able to think of something better, because there are a lot of really talented choreographers out there. So it always behooves you to get advice from as many people as you can,
Yeah.
within reason, but to get other opinions, other viewpoints, because no one person knows everything.
No, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Yeah, I love that story because I was going to mention you were kind of late getting started to the entertainment business.
Yeah, you think?
But once you decided to do it, you dove in.
I was in my 20s. I know. I was in my 20s. And my first big job, I got cast in a Weird Al Yankovic video. I played Tanya Harding. And I skated.
Did you have to do the theatrics or was it just the skating?
I did the whole thing. I had steam coming out of my ears, whacking her on the kneecap, the whole thing. I'm not, yeah, you should Google it. It's
I remember that video because that was probably somewhere in the 90s, right?
It was in the 90s, and it was very it wasn't one of his huge hits because it was really topical for that moment, because it talked about Harding, it talked about the guy who got caned in India, and he talked about the Bobbitt, the story of the woman who chopped off.
I forgot about the guy the king. All that stuff happened in the same time period.
It was called Headline News. The name of the video was Headline News, and that was my big job, my first big job.
Well, the good part of that is you were confident in your skating. So if you got to go into acting the first time, it helps if you're good at what you're doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, they said it helps if I went in as an actor, and then they said, well, can you skate? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, yes, I can. You don't have to hire a double. So I did. I had 2 auditions, one for my skating and one for the acting. And when they called me into audition, it was for the part of Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh.
Funny. And I went in and I read it was a music video. I don't even remember what it was. It was sort of like improv and crying, why me? And so I did that. And then I said, I was headed out the door and I said, could I just read for Tanya before I leave? And Al was in the room and he was like, sure. So I read for Al, and it was just like a bunch of making faces and being angry, and like whack, and he thought I was so funny. He laughed his head off, and I knew when I left the room that I had that job.
I love that.
Because it was, that's the only time I've ever felt that. It's like, I think I got this one.
Have you got to skate acting wise since then?
Have I gotten to skate acting wise since then? No, I haven't. Well, at my age now, you get auditions for coaches, and most of them are Russian coaches, and I'm not Russian.
I think we need to develop a little project where you're a skater and you get hurt, and so you start you try singing because you can't skate.
Oh, there you go.
And it goes well. So it goes pretty well. But somewhere in there, you accidentally fall into solving crime.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
See, it takes a third eye to see how that would work.
It could even be a musical.
Okay. I love it. So I'm skating and I break into song, and then I fall and I don't know, break my leg.
Horrible accident.
Horrible. It's like ice castles, but better. All right. And then what happens? I decide to sing. To sing, and then I solve a crime. How do I solve a crime?
Did you say we'll have to figure that out.
It's like a detective whodunit thriller. I
kind of feel like you probably come across like a body or something, and then you have to, maybe you're implicated a little bit accidentally, so then you have to solve the murder so that it gets you out of trouble.
I kind of like where this is going.
Because can't you see it? So as part of the investigation, you got to like infiltrate one of those old school nightclubs. So you have to sing. Somehow you end up on stage and you're singing.
Because the nightclub is actually a money laundering organization.
There we go. This is going to be a hit.
Oh, I worked for one of these. I know this world. I worked for this place, and I was like, why do they keep hiring me? There's no money. There's no one here.
Oh, there's money.
They're laundering money. Like, how are they paying me and a whole band when there's nobody in the place?
Well, that's one of those jobs you don't ask too many questions. Just take the money.
No, I worked for a guy. I kid you not. Can I tell you what his name was?
Yeah.
Eddie the Hat. I'm not kidding. His name was Eddie the Hat.
See, I need a nickname like that.
Yeah. And one of the Gambinos was his friend, the crime, and he would come in and have a drink, and he tipped really well. He would put like $40 in the tip jar, but he was a Gambino. He was old. He was like really, really old.
Did he call him Eddie the Hat?
Everyone called him Eddie, and everyone behind his back called him Eddie the Hat. He was Eddie the Hat. Well, that was his name.
Why the hat? Did he wear hats?
I'm not really sure. No, wait. Yes, he did. He was bald. He did sometimes he wore a hat. Sometimes he didn't. But Eddie the Hat, it meant something. And he was Italian. And
I feel like I need to know this story.
Yeah, this was back in the 90s. And there were some shady characters up and down Riverside Drive in the jazz scene. Because remember, Frank Sinatra they were all in that.
They were all connected.
They were all
supposedly.
Connected. Yeah. And Eddie the Hat and all these people, they all knew each other. So just saying. Mm-hmm. Eddie the Hat finally ran the place into the ground, and he moved to Vegas, and I never heard from him again.
He's probably still there.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might be. His wife said that he was beating her up in the coat closet, and she called the police one night.
Oh boy.
Yeah, in the little coat closet, the police came.
If I was, connected, let's say, I would not want to go down for something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to smack somebody in a coat closet and then
he smacked her in the coat closet. Yeah, I think she pressed charges, and that's why he left and went to Vegas. I think that's
a terrible way to.
It was horrible. And this was actually a very legendary place. It was called the Money Tree. And it was Sarah Vaughan played there, and Paige Cavanaugh, who was a very, very well-known piano player in LA, and legendary people. The entire band from the Tonight Show hung out there, and I got to meet a lot of them. That's how I learned how to sing from these guys. And I worked with Frank Sinatra's guitar player up until he died.
Really?
Yeah, Ron Anthony. They were all Italian.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
I did. I learned how to swing. I was so lucky. I was the luckiest chick singer. And remember, I knew nothing. I was self-taught until I started taking all these classes wherever I could get them. And I learned the most from these guys.
That probably helped you get that initial job because they were probably looking for somebody. She doesn't know anything. Let's put her. She won't ask too many questions.
She'll do right. Well, the best advice I ever got from any musician was Earl Palmer, who was a very famous drummer who played with Fats Domino, and he was from New Orleans, and
oh yeah,
one of the most recorded drummers of all time. And he said, with a tune, you got to get in and get out. That's it. Get in, get out. That. So know how to get in, know how to get out.
Know how to get out.
Take the risk, but you cannot take a train wreck.
What was the ice skating movie you mentioned?
The video? Oh, the ice skating movie.
Yeah.
Castles?
Ice Castles. It was DB Sweeney, right?
No, that was the remake or the one after. This was Lynn Holly Johnson and Robbie Benson.
Oh, Robbie Benson. Yeah.
Robbie Benson. This is
I remember that one.
This is the 70s.
That's My Bodyguard, right? He played in the it was adapted from a book, but it was called Bodyguard or My Bodyguard. He was
I love My Bodyguard, but that was a different movie.
That was Whitney Houston, right? My Bodyguard?
Oh,
or was that Bodyguard?
No, that was The Bodyguard.
Oh, that was The Bodyguard.
Not Bodyguard with Kevin Costner. My Bodyguard was a movie back in the early 80s about a kid bullied at school.
I know. I think that was Robbie Benson playing the kid.
Oh, it might. I don't know.
I think it was.
I have to look that up. But he was also
because he ends up going into he became more known for his directing, I think. And
well, yeah, Robbie did. But I don't know if it's the same guy. I'll have to look that up. But he was
definitely find out.
Castles. He played a hockey player who dates this girl in a small town in Iowa, and she gets picked up by these big time coaches, and she goes off to train, and she has this horrible accident. She tries a triple axel, falls into these.
I think it was a remake. With DB Sweeney. I think he remade it.
I think they remade it. And then anyway, she's blind, and then she gets back together with Robbie Benson, and she goes back and she competes while she's blind. I remember I was a kid and I saw it. And
it sounds like every after school special they had in the 70s.
It was actually really well done for its time. And that was a movie that made me want to ice skate.
Hey, it's worth it for that.
It was. I was like 10. I saw it and like, oh, I want to be her.
I miss those days. When you're about that age, you're so impressionable. And when kids, when they latch onto something, when they like something or love something, I mean, they go hard.
Oh, I was all in. I was all in. I bought those little, do you remember they had this little panorama picture books where like Grease had it, and you go and you buy these books, and they had pictures, stills from the whole movie with captions above the heads where you see the whole movie like it's like a graphic novel.
They did those with Star Trek episodes too.
Right. They did it with Ice Castles. They did it with Grease. And so I just was poring over this book. It was just like, I knew every line of dialogue in that film. I probably still do.
How did you avoid singing any song from Grease in your initial debut in the coffee shop? Because you knew those songs.
Oh, I knew every one of them. I still do. Rama lama lama kadingity ding dong. Remember forever like shoebop shabada wada yippity dip to do. I remember.
Oh yeah, you know them.
Yep. No, they wanted jazz. There was a jazz, so I had to learn, standards. I had to be classy, so I learned. Yeah. I learned all those Frank Sinatra tunes and Nat King Cole, and I love that music. I love that.
That old school music. I grew up on that too because my parents listened to it all the time. That was great music.
It was great music, great songs, written by the best. I mean, I still when I do jazz gigs, and I still do a lot of them. I do jazz jams. I go back to that list. There's so many standards. There are so many. You cannot possibly learn them all. And they're great, and the changes are great, and it's just such a fun world to be a part of. To go to a jam, you don't know anybody, but you call a tune. It's a jazz standard. Everybody pitches in and plays.
Oh.
It's a language.
Can you sing Country Roads?
Of course, I do it all the time. Yep.
Do you really?
I do. All the time. I play it on ukulele. I play it on piano,
all right.
and I sing it at senior homes because I sing for the seniors in the assisted living facilities and
Love
memory
that.
care. I do that a lot. I do it by myself solo. And then I also have a couple of girls that I work with. We have a ukulele trio and we're called Sunny Side Up and
Love
we
it.
sing. It's great. We're like the Andrew sisters. We have 3-part harmony and we play ukuleles and we work all the time. And one of our big hits is Country Road.
It's because everybody knows it.
And they sing along.
Yeah.
All sing along.
It's
a great song.
That's the best West Virginia song ever. It's not even close.
I sing about, which is why I have to get to West Virginia because I sing about it all the time.
Well, and the song's pretty accurate. West Virginia is a beautiful place. We got plenty of problems, but it's beautiful.
Oh, it's so gorgeous.
Come in the fall when the leaves are changing colors. That's the best time.
So you really do see the Blue Ridge, the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yeah. You need to come through.
I do. Take me home.
I'm sure we could find you a stage and put you up there.
I would love to play in West Virginia. I would love that. Get me a gig.
I can get you a gig.
I can do anything. I can do jazz. I can sing country, classic country. I can do pop. I can do all of it.
I was telling you, my wife works for Live Nation, but she's very strong into the volunteering side. So she volunteers in a couple of the cities around us and stuff. So she's involved in a lot of the festivals and stuff. So yeah, I got a connection.
Well, that's a pretty strong connection.
It's pretty good.
I want to meet your wife.
Yeah, she's the best. She's the brains of this outfit.
Yeah, I
always tell her, I'm just the pretty face.
Yeah, right. You're the face person.
When I started, it was me and my son were doing this podcast, and it was his idea. But he almost immediately figured out he hated being on camera. Hated it. But
really?
he loved to edit, and he likes to talk sometimes about stuff he wants to talk about.
Yeah.
But he don't want to talk to anybody. If it's just me and him talking about nerdy stuff, he'll do those.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really like to interview, but he likes to edit. So
okay,
I was like, that's all right.
Great job. That's a really
it's the hardest job. I've got the easiest job.
It's creative. It's so creative. I love editing. I would love to. In another life, I'll be an editor. In another life.
Yeah, there's only so much time. You gotta go with your strengths.
I figure skate, I sing, I act.
Yeah, you got enough going on. So you just did a Mother's Day tribute.
I did a Mother's Day show. Well, I have my new album it was my dad's last music. It's an album called Lost in Time. It's a tribute to my dad, Bill Pursell. And we did a show at the Hard Rock Cafe on Hollywood Boulevard. And Lisa Gibbons, the amazing woman. Oh my God, she's so fantastic. We did it to raise awareness for her organization. It's called Lisa's Care Connection, and she provides assistance to caregivers. It's an incredible organization, and I
love it.
They're there in full force. They helped me do the show. We had some celebrities come, and that show, it was in the morning. It was Saturday morning, and it went so well. It was about 3 weeks ago, and we're doing it again next weekend in Nashville at 3rd and Lindsley, which is a club downtown. Now, Lisa's not going to be here for that. For that one, this is a tribute to my dad, Charlie McCoy, the famous harmonica player.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yep, he's a member of the Grand Ole Opry. He was a really good friend of my dad's. And I'm doing all of the songs that Dad and I were working on when he passed away from COVID in 2020. So this is a tribute to my dad, and it's our last music. And it's sort of the end of that journey because we worked together for 22 years.
I mean, how cathartic is that? That's amazing.
Yeah, it is cathartic. It's also sad because I just miss my dad so much.
Of course.
He wasn't supposed to go. He was 94, but he still was not supposed to go.
Yeah, COVID cost all of us someone. Yeah. It was awful. 2020 especially. It was just a terrible year.
Just awful. And I remember I remember New Year's Eve, 2019, 2020, we were so excited.
Yeah.
The Roaring 20s are back. We had a big party. We all dressed up. Who knew? Who knew how bad it was going to be?
And coincidentally, is that the last time there was a pandemic was the same thing. They were getting ready to turn into the 1920s. Same thing. They're just coming out of a pandemic. We were just going into a pandemic.
Flu. They called it the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2020 was terrible. We went to Sundance for in into January of 2020 and just had the best time. And then literally like within a few days after we got back was when all that stuff came out.
It was over. I was on stage at a place called Viva Cantina performing with my band on March 17th. And we were halfway through the set and they said, we're closing at 12 midnight. The whole city of Los Angeles was down. And we were, I'm pretty sure, the last band to play in LA. That was it. And we all went to a little place called Little Tony's. It was an Italian joint down the street. And we had one last drink together. And that was the last time I have seen those people.
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah. Because then my dad died and I came back to Nashville and I've been here ever since. So I haven't gone back.
It's about time. It's about time to take a trip.
Well, I've been back, but LA's it's a little bit of a different place now. And
I said the same thing because it was like a year and a half that we hadn't been to LA, and when we got back out, it's hard to explain, but it's different than it was pre-COVID.
And a lot of my friends have left already.
Yeah.
Some of them are coming here. Some of them have actually moved to Nashville or are thinking about moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't have the same appeal for me anymore. And because of all of the technological changes, you don't have to be in LA to act. You can do your auditions on Zoom. You can send them in via Zoom. And if you get hired in LA, go to LA.
Yeah, fly out there.
You don't have to physically be there. And a lot of times people don't want in-person auditions anyway. So there's really there's not necessary.
Unless you're just wanting to, spend a lot of money on housing and stuff.
No, and true. You can go to the beach and the mountains, but do you ever go to the beach or the mountains? Like I never had time. I never lived by the beach. I don't live in.
Well, like I've been to the beach in LA several times, but like I said, normally it's my wife that's there working, so I've got the free time.
Yeah. Well, and the water, it's not like going.
It's so cold.
Cold. It's windy. You don't want to swim in the beach. You would go wear 3 layers and go, okay, I've seen it. And it's
you go and you maybe go eat by the beach.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. That's really cool. But you don't go swimming. It's not like Destin, Florida, or Myrtle Beach.
Well, West Virginia, we love Myrtle Beach, so that's our.
Of course. Well, we used to go to Myrtle Beach. That was where we would vacation as a family in Nashville. So we would all get in the station wagon and drive to Myrtle Beach.
Is your sister musical? Did she get any of it?
No, I was the only one. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
I was the only one.
I always find that interesting. Like my father was an excellent athlete, growing up, just had very strong in a lot of different sports and stuff. But my brother and I, neither one of us got any. Maybe a little bit, but not to the level.
You seem like you would be good athletic.
Well, it depends on your definition of good. I'm good enough to not embarrass myself, but I'm not. I'm old now, but when I was growing up, I was good enough to play about anything, but I wasn't really good enough to be good, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, I get it. And maybe it was like the same situation as me. Your dad was this amazing athlete. In the back of your brain, you're thinking, well, I got to go do something else.
Well, I think there's some truth to that because he coached basketball when I was really young and stuff, but he was very, he didn't want to push us into anything. He wanted to let us figure it out ourselves. And then after I grew up, I was like, hey, maybe you could have pushed a little bit.
I wish Dad had pushed me. I wish somebody had pushed me. I would have loved to be able to play that instrument the way it should be played.
Do you have a favorite memory of going to see him perform when you were growing up?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Well, he wrote the first symphony for the city of Nashville. And they
Yeah.
performed at the War Memorial Auditorium, and this was in 1989. And I remember sitting in the audience, and I was so proud of him. It was such a huge accomplishment that I will always remember. Yeah. And of course, he did so many concerts around town, and he played everywhere. I mean, he was always so good. You just sort of take it for granted and like, oh, that's Dad.
Yeah. It's just
Everyone's
what
like,
he does.
your father is so amazing. Like, well, that's what he does.
How about a song? Is there a song that he wrote that's a favorite?
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, there's a song that he wrote that's on my record that he wrote for my mom. Yeah. Yeah, it's called Lost in Time. It's called Lost in Time, and it's a tribute to my mom. You know, my mom passed away from dementia and Alzheimer's brought on by stroke. And it was a very long, sad journey for her. It was just an awful way.
Terrible.
And she was so brilliant and beautiful and charismatic, and to see that happen was so sad. So Dad wrote a poem about her, and then he put it to music, and we actually recorded that in the studio in 2019, and I sang it, and it was, he put a lot, it was very symphonic, it's cinematic. You listen to it and there's a French horn and an oboe at the very end.
Oh yeah.
Said he just wanted to hear her voice. It's very haunting. And we put that on the record. And then there's
that.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And then the other piece that he wrote was the very last song. He wrote it a month before he died. It was a wedding present for his brother, my uncle. He got married much later in life. And this was a gift for his wedding celebration. So Dad wrote this gorgeous instrumental called Tender Wish. It's a late in life. I give you it's a tender wish that the rest of your life is going to be happy. And it was so beautiful.
How great is that?
And he played it on August 8th, 2020 at my uncle's house. And it was just a simple tune that he had scribbled out on a piece of paper. And less than 4 weeks later, he was gone. So he had COVID that night, and we didn't know it.
Just didn't know it. Yeah, that happened to a lot of us. I hate that you lost him too soon. Although he had a very good life, but that who knows? Who knows how long he lived?
He was so upset. He was so angry. He wanted to get out of the hospital. He wanted to come home because he said, "We're not finished with this album. We got to finish this album." And when he died, I found that piece of music, the last piece of music that he'd written, and I took it to a man named Steve Malden, who is my musical director here.
Yeah.
And he added strings to it and put it to an arrangement. It is the most beautiful piece. You cannot hear it and know the story without crying. And I put it on the album. It was never Dad's desire, or he never thought about putting it on the record. It was just a gift that he'd written for his brother. But it is the last track on this record, and it's called Tender Wish, and it is beautiful.
Oh yeah, I have to hear that. That's amazing.
Oh gosh. And we're going to perform it next weekend. We're bringing in a string section, and they're going to do the whole song. It's going to be so special.
Do you do anything with, like, do you put him up on screen playing and play along with him?
Well, I haven't done that, but what I'm doing for this show, we've got a big screen behind the band, and we're going to freeze frame and rotate images of my dad.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
There are a few videos of him playing and telling stories because he was such a great storyteller. He was so funny. I have a video of him scatting, and it's going to be part of the show. Yeah.
Did you get your scatting from him?
Oh, I don't scat. That's just, I don't.
Well, you did in your initial.
Shamalama kadingity dingada. I learned that when I was in, come on, everyone.
Well, you had to scat a little bit when you were doing, you lost your place in the music.
I did. I made it up. I mean, I'm sure it was horrible. I'm sure it was just awful. And,
I bet it was great.
Like an art form. Scatting, you're taking the place of a horn, right?
Yeah.
Or an instrument. So I have too much respect for it to really do much of it because I don't think I'm that good at it. And it's not something that
Well, there is some truth to that if, like, the only type of scat that's really acceptable is the really good one.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because if you're only so, it probably doesn't sound great.
No, and musicians hate it, by the way. Musicians cannot
How
stand
come?
when singers start to scat because very few singers do it well. And it starts to sound like sneakers in a dryer,
Yeah.
all over the place. And it's not that musical. And they think that it gets in the way and it's not necessary. So I had several musicians over the years thank me for not scatting. They're like, scat-free zone. We can just blow. We can just
We
play.
heard you did this in the coffee shop. We'd prefer you not to do it.
They never heard me do it. Now, on the other hand, had I done it, I mean, because they said that, I was like the chick singer, and it kind of put me in a little bit of a chokehold because I couldn't explore that the way that I really wanted to because I didn't want to make a fool of myself in front of these legendary guys. These people played with Frank Sinatra. You think I'm going to get out there and scat and make a fool out of myself? No way.
Yeah, no way.
I was not going to try it. So I never really did it. And I don't, sometimes they do what you call trading fours. The drummer plays 4 bars. The singer scats for 4 bars. The pianist plays for 4 bars and you go around. I just never felt confident enough to do that and have it sound awesome. And I'm a huge Ella Fitzgerald fan. And if you've ever heard her scat, it is really hard to follow.
Amazing.
She's
amazing.
She's just incredible. Nobody could scat like her. Nobody. No.
Yeah, that's truth. I was trying to think, is there anybody I know that can, that I've heard that scat? And there's very few.
You should listen to, there's a live recording of her doing It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. And she scats. The first time I heard that, the first several times I heard it, I was crying tears because it was just so incredible.
Yeah.
Just to hear the joy and the abandonment coming out of that woman, and that she never did it the same way twice. That's what they said. Every time she scatted, she didn't rehearse that. That was in her bones. It was in her DNA. She was music. She was just
That's amazing.
Yeah. But go listen to that. It don't mean a thing if it's that swing, and it's a live recording. I don't know if it was in Berlin. I don't know where it was, but that was something else.
Yeah, that's terrific. So what's coming next? So you've got the Father's Day tribute for your dad.
Yeah, my dad.
What's your plans after that? Are you touring? Are you making more music? Are you acting? What's going on?
Well, we're going to film this performance.
Good. Yeah,
we're going to film it, and we want to do it again because we really have a show now. It's a tight show. It's a good show. It's good music. And we've got the strings. We've got all these charts for strings. I hate to do this and not repeat it. So we need to find some venues that can accommodate 6 or 8 strings plus a full rhythm section. It's going to be it's going to be a challenge to find those places, but I think we can do it. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to keep pursuing that. And I have another record that I was recording in LA before my dad got sick.
Yeah.
We have it. It's in the can. And I have to release that one. And that one is a compilation of rock. It's rock, blues, a little jazz. It's definitely a different vibe. And it's really fun. And we cover Neil Young, Joni Mitchell. It's that. And
that has to be a good feeling to know you've already got that one sitting.
Oh, it's done. I did 2 albums at the same time. I went back and finished it. I
love that.
There's a follow-up after this, but I want this one to breathe a little bit. I want this one to I want people to find it. I want them to hear it. And then we're gonna hit them over the head with the next one. And the next one's totally different, and it's really good.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, I was just we got to come out and find you and see you in person at some.
Yes, please, or I'll come there. I want to come to West Virginia.
Oh yeah, I'm working on that.
Yeah, please. I'm serious. I would love to come. I've never been. Never.
We definitely have some venues in Charleston that you can do whatever you wanted in those. It could hold it. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I know you're so busy. And now we have to, work on our, skater turn
Yes,
private investigator.
we have to work on our
musical.
script, the musical thriller, espionage. Yeah, that's musical.
I think we're sitting on gold. It's
Never
it's a
been done
hit.
before.
Just needs to be written.
Yeah, it needs to be written. It's a skating musical thriller.
I'm guessing the only one.
I know. You know, if we don't do something about this, somebody will steal it. They will steal the idea.
And that's okay if they do, as long as they cast you in it and they put me in like the special thanks category. I'm good.
That's right. Well,
maybe I could play the body. I'm the body that you find.
You could play the body. You could also get the story by credit.
Story. Ooh, I didn't even know there was such a thing. Yeah. So like it was my idea, but I didn't write.
Exactly, but it's a story by you.
Oh, that's perfect for me because I'm kind of an idea guy, but I have no follow-up.
Oh, you got to go for the story by credits. That's a big credit. You get money for story by credits. Trust me.
That's pretty good. I'm just gonna start sending out random ideas.
No,
how about this? This anything?
Oh, someone will steal them. So you can't do that. Can't do that. Oh, you gotta copyright that stuff. You gotta get that.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, you just have to, you gotta know the right people. You gotta know the right people. You gotta find a showrunner. You gotta do all that, but you gotta get that story by credit.
Yeah.
But don't throw it out just to the, like chicken feed.
All right. I've been doing it that way now, since we started the podcast, but I'll stop.
Well, who knows? You probably have all your ideas out there being produced right now.
I'm going to be watching a TV or a movie or something and be like, this seems familiar.
You know what? My mom, 20 years ago, she said, I have a great idea for a series. I think it should be a comedy, a drama comedy that takes place in a funeral home. And it's about the family in the funeral home. And I was like, oh, Mom, we should write that. I told everybody about that. 3 years later, 6 Feet Under.
6 Feet Under.
I said, Mom, someone took your idea. I mean, who would have thought of that?
Your mother. Did she happen to be like talking about it openly in public? Maybe,
she would come out to LA.
What's his name?
Oh, we'd go all the time. It was a great, who would have thought of that? A comedy drama taking place in a funeral parlor.
Yeah.
It could be coincidence, but Mom, she loved to talk. She chatted it up with everybody, and she was a reporter and a publicist. So of course, she told everyone that this was.
She may have been the actual creative genius behind.
Could have been. I said, Mom, you're not going to believe this. You will not believe it. It's a hit show on HBO, and it's called 6 Feet Under.
Did she watch it?
I don't think she did.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
She did. I did. I was an addict. It was a
good show.
It was a good show. The finale. Oh, we had a party at my house during the finale.
Oh, we did too.
Wept.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard. I missed the like the TV finale parties. That was a big thing in the 90s. We did that, Friends and Seinfeld. We did Cheers. We did it for all of us.
When I was in college, we used to have the Cosby Show.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know. Thursday night lineup.
I'm so upset with Mr. Cosby because, I've loved him my whole life.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah, as America's dad.
Yeah, we loved watching the Bill Cosby Show. That was our thing.
Us too. I know. Us too. Well, Laura, this has been the best. I knew it would be. I was so excited to talk with you.
This is very interesting and so random.
We've been all over the place.
I don't think I've ever quite had an interview quite like this.
I'm going to use that like it's a positive, but
it is. I know, it's so positive. It's so positive you don't even know how positive it is. I can't wait to watch this. I just want to see if it's as fun to watch as it's been to do.
It will be. Maybe even more.
Is your son, does he edit this or does he? So it gets edited.
He edits, yeah. He gets all, like, if you look on IMDb, he's got all the editing.
So that's, okay, he's got a credit. So that's a bit, wow. So we've talked a while. He's got a lot to look at. He's going to have to sit through all this.
I know.
Sorry.
And he hates doing that too. Like he loves to edit, but he doesn't really enjoy watching me talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Dad, you just go on and on and on
I
and
know.
on.
That's what he says. He's like, you talk too much, Dad. I'm like, I know.
That's why you're good at what you do.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know if that's true, but
No, it is true. This has been
faking
really
it till I make it.
I can't wait to watch it. When do I get to see it?
Well, it normally will take him about 2 weeks, but I'm going to try to get this out right before Father's Day so we can hit before your show. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
So that's what. Yeah. So we'll shoot for that. But before I let you go, before we wrap up, where can we find you? Where can we find your music on social media?
Yes, you can find me on my website, of course, laurapurcell.com. And that's PURS as in Sam, ELL.com, laurapurcell.com. My music is there. Lost in Time, a tribute to Bill Pursell, is there. You can also find it on the music label's website, which is netcommusic.com. You can find me on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. I have lots of content on YouTube.
Yeah,
Amazon.
you do. I saw a lot of it on YouTube.
Just put my name in. You're going to see all kinds of entertainment.
Yeah, it comes right up.
Including the Weird Al Yankovic video. Probably.
See, I remember that one, but I have to go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
Now that I know who's playing.
We'll have to do another interview just on that video.
Oh, yeah, you have to come back. You got to come back after all the shows and let us know how they went.
Oh, I will. Absolutely. Yeah. I will. Please
that'd be awesome.
follow up with me, or I'll follow up with you. For sure.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, hold on 1 second. Hope you enjoyed that. Laura Pursell, she is crazy talented. If you get a chance to see her live singing, do so. It'll be worth it. But definitely check out her music. There's several albums out, and a lot of it is with her dad. And obviously he's a legend. So in my opinion, she's on her way. She's really talented. I think he would be insanely proud of her if she was my daughter. I know I would be. She's worth your time, and a pretty good actress too. I mentioned she mentioned the Al Yankovic video that she did. She also played a figure skater in the reboot of Gilmore Girls. She was figure skater in an episode of that. And she did some voice work on Jessica Jones, which, as a nerd, that was a big one for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Talented actress, even more talented as a musician, in my opinion, but talented in both. And I'm sure she's crazy good at figure skating too. So just a really fun, talented lady. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you're finding us for the first time and you liked it, you'd like to support us, we can definitely use your help. It's simple to do. It's easy. It's free. If you prefer to watch, it's YouTube, MeisterCon Pod. Just hit that subscribe button. Really helps us out. Love to hear what you think about whatever interview or episode that you watched. So leave us some comments. We'd appreciate that. If you listen or you prefer to listen to your podcast, wherever you're listening at, whatever application you're using, just subscribe there. Work for us just as much. Really help us out. So please do that. We posted episode 593 today, which is a lot of episodes in 4 years. I'm pretty proud of that. You can listen or watch all of those on our website, meistercon.com. So make sure you check us out there. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, if we're going to watch Laura in concert, or if we're covering a convention, whatever we're doing, that'll be on the website, meistercon.com. So definitely check us out there. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.